Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Sunday, the 8th of May 2022. In today's video, we're going to talk about the stats from yesterday's game and just that, really. In the next week or so, I'll get into like a season review and things like that. But today's video just about yesterday. And yesterday, I told you the under 18s actually won at Barnsley. And this is a pretty decent match report, well written here. I thought I would share it with you. This is from barnsleyfc.co.uk. Our Barnsley under 18s were beaten 2-1 by Millwall in the final game of the regulation Professional Development League season at Oakwell on Saturday afternoon. So yeah, they were playing at the Barnsley's main stadium, which was nice. I don't know what the crowd was, so I wouldn't imagine it's very much. They were letting people in for free, so because I think they're trying to drum up a bit of support because Barnsley are actually in the playoffs and we beat them, so that was good. Barnsley came into clash at Oakwell, knowing that another victory would make it 5 on the spin after an impressive 1-0 triumph at Ipswich Town last time out. So this is a team that was they won 4 games in a row. Barnsley youngsters have sealed a place in PDL playoffs with Charlton Athletic awaiting in the semi-final next Saturday. Millwall came into this one winless in their last 2, losing 2-0 home to Coventry in their last outing. The Lions knew that they couldn't finish lower than 4th in the Southern Division, but a win could see them rise to 3rd, depending on results elsewhere. It was Millwall who made the bright start to the affair. Leahy had the ball in the back of the net for the Lions after just 5 minutes, but after it broke into the striker in the area, and he slotted home, but the assistant referees raised a flag, denied him an opener. However, Leahy did break the deadlock shortly after. A quick counter-attack allowed the forward to be found one-on-one with Rogan Ravenhill, and he slotted home calmly to give the Lions a lead inside the opening 10 minutes. Barnsley youngsters responded well to the setback with Fabio Yallo almost poking home from close range after a teasing delivery from Hayden Pickard on the left, almost found the Portuguese attacker in the box, but the ball was just too far in front of his boot. A turnover in the middle of the pitch allowed SA to be slipped in, and he made no mistake from the edge of the area, bending in with his left foot into the bottom corner to double Mill's lead just before the break. The Reds found a foothold in the game shortly after the restart. Yalo won a foul just outside the area on the right hand side, and it was he who delivered a teasing in-swinging delivery into the area. Hickinbottom was at a back stick and he nodded home from close range in the 54th minute. Yarlow found himself through on goal shortly after with a clipped ball forward finding the attacker, but the angle narrowed and Mill keeper Alfie McNally saved well with his feet at the near post. In one final roll of dice, Assel introduced Milan Benjamin to the fray, with Josiah Dyer making way in a straight switch at the top of the pitch for the Reds in the 73rd minute. Despite most of the final 10 minutes being played in the Mill half, the Reds couldn't find an elusive equaliser in the closing stages. So there you have it. Mill playing pretty well to beat a team bang in form and who are through to the semi-final stage. And let's have a look at how Mill under 18s finished their season. So they just beat Barnsley, who are second in the northern section. And here are Millwall. They're up to 3rd. There's still 1 game left overall, and that's between Ipswich and Watford. So if Ipswich win that game, they may move Millwall down to 4th. And Millwall under 18s finished their season with 11 wins, 3 draws, 10 defeats, scoring 41 goals and conceding 45. So pretty decent. I think they're kind of struggling for a striker, which is why they're playing Tom Lee up front. He's not really, well, he's an attacking midfielder type player, but I don't think he's like an out-and-out striker. But being taken on the role and doing quite well at the moment. So let's get into the stats from the big game. Bournemouth 1, Millwall 0. So this is from infogol.net because there is no experimental 361 yet. So we're just going to have to start with this. And these are the match events. Substitution at half time. the weird one. I don't know if that was a tactical switch or we think it was. And then the big one, Jed Wallace coming up for Mason Bennett, which then we start attacking a bit more and more. And you see immediately after that, Bournemouth make a change. Then a few minutes later they make another change. And then a few minutes later, after we make ours, they make another substitution. And they brought on the two players who were involved in their goal, Billing, who had the assist, and Kiefer Moore, who scored the goal. So literally every time they made a substitution, they got stronger and stronger, and it was wave after wave of attack against us, and it was probably just a matter of time before they scored, and they did in the 81st minute. So, and even though we were going forward more, we didn't really have that much of a goal threat. As you can see here, if you look in the middle above the red FT, the XG of that game was 2.58 Bournemouth and 0.36 for Millwall. So what does that mean? Well, that means Bournemouth should have scored either 2 or 3 goals. So that tells you what an outstanding defensive display that Millwall put on in that game, when a team had enough chances to get 3 goals, roughly between 2 and 3 goals, and they only got 1. So let's see where they were. So this is a shot map, XG shot map. The shots taking where they were taken on the pitch, and there you can see Mill's chances are few and far between. This is for the 90 minutes, so yeah, that is our typical away day forward endeavours. That's how we've typically done on the road this season, and why our away form is so dire. And if you look there, fairness rating was that fair result, 89.81 out of 100. So yeah, when you've got a team like Millwall having these chances, and you have a team like Bournemouth having these chances on goal, most of them inside the 18-yard box. Yeah, well, if you just look today, which team won the game? Well, it's probably obvious, isn't it? This team. And that wasn't even their best chance that they scored with. They scored with that one, it's 27%. Their best chance was this big one here, Billing in 87 minutes. And they had another chance, Jay Anthony, on the 88th minute. So these are all late on, as they made the substitutions and they kept coming at us. But so let's do a switch here. First half, the first half we only had 2 shots on the goal. One from Hutch and both from Hutch. So from the set pieces from Hutchison. And here's Bournemouth's efforts in the first half. So you can see we did very well to stop them from doing anything in the first half. The second half, when they had the substitutions, they obviously were getting into the area more. They only have 1 shot from outside the area. 1 in the 6-yard box from an angle. And we have a lot more shots as well, but not really a lot. A few from far out. What was it? Billy Mitchell. It's so small, I can't even click on it. Jed Wallace, and the other one is probably Jed Wallace as well. Yeah, no, George Saville. So yeah, what was our best chance of the Oliver Burke 84? Okay, yeah, I mean, we kept them quiet for a very, very long time with excellent defending. But when they made the substitutions and turned the screws, especially as we were doing more attacking, just got caught out, didn't we? So let's move into this from whoscored.com. So there's the strengths, weaknesses and styles. And if you look on the right hand side, you can see Sean Hutchison got the man of the match based on the stats, which is kind of incredible that the defender for the losing team got a man of the match. But just shows you how well the defending was, doesn't it? Not only that, but if I'll show you this, they're not hanging around this week. They just pump this out straight away. Normally they'll do it on a Monday or Tuesday, but here we go. This is from Sky Bet Championship's Twitter. The team of the week, Hutchinson is there, and who's alongside him in defence? The Bournemouth defender, Phillips. So there you have that. So let's get back and have a look here. So let's have a look at the chances, the attempts on goal. 20 for Bournemouth, 8 for Millwall. 20 to 8. 18 to 2 open play, 1 to 5 set pieces. So we were really trying to get on with the set pieces, but it just wouldn't happen, was it? 1 counter attack each. So they had 20 shots and only scored 1 goal. That is a conversion rate of 5. There's a conversion rate of 5. So we really did well defending against Bournemouth. And only conceding 1 goal. There's absolute incredible defensive performance by Millwall there. These are the attack sides. Both teams going down the wings. Shot directions. Shot zones. Action zones. Player positions. Okay. Yeah, so you can see there Ryan Leonard being pushed up. So it's kind of free at the back, but Ryan Leonard pushing forward. George Saville kind of dropping deep. Billy Mitchell actually playing further forward than George Saville. Okay. Interesting stuff. Moving on now to this. So, crowd of 10,244 at the Vitality Stadium. If you look at the club badges, you can see the average player rating for each club: 7.03 for Bournemouth and 6.54 for Millwall. It's a slight advantage there to Bournemouth, and you can see here Bournemouth's highest rated players are their defence. They really did keep us quiet as well, and we kept them quiet even more. So interesting stuff. As I've said, man of the match Hutchinson 8.0. Closely followed by Millwall George Saville 7.6. Herphobi didn't have the best of games, did he? 5.8. That was born by watching it as it went out. He didn't really have the best of games. And there's his rating 5.8. So you'd think it would never happen, but if Mason Bennett stayed on the pitch and Phobie had been the one that come off, then Phobie, he's got the class, he's got the quality, he can just make something happen out of nowhere. But didn't do it in that game. So let's go through who did what, when, where and how. So total shots 20 to 8. Burke, Hutchinson, 2 each. Bennett didn't have a shot. Phobie didn't have a shot. Bradshaw didn't have a shot. Kind of, you strike 3 of your strikers and have your shots on goal. Possession 60.8 to 39.2. Really not a lot of possession for Millwall. Pass success percentage 86 to 77. Mason Bennett, see, here's the thing, Mason Bennett 90. Obviously went off not half time, 58 minutes or something. So we'll have to see how many passes that was later on, but if he's having a passing accuracy of 90 and you're pulling him off, why are you doing that? Why? Dribbles 13 to 11. Aerials 1 18 to 18. Look at that. The defense, Phillips with 12 aerials. That's their defense. Solid. They're the only ones who won the aerials. The rest of the players didn't win a single aerial. Tackles 22 to 16. They had to put in more tackles as well. Kilkenny with 6 on his own. Hutchinson with 5. Everyone from Millwall starting 11 won a tackle, except for Phoebe, Cooper, and Biakowski. So corners 6 to 5. Dispossessed 6 to 14. So dispossessed is basically having the ball taken off you. And basically everyone from Millwall had the ball taken off them except for Leonard, Hutchinson, and Biakowski. Phoebe with 4. So again, another indication that Phoebe wasn't having the best of games, but he's the one who stays on the pitch and Bennett gets taken off. So let's move on now to the player stats from WhoScored.com. Basically what we've just seen, but a little bit extra. So there are the player ratings. Sean Hutchinson 8.01, and then we have 1, 2, 3 Millwall players with 7s. George Saville 7.55, Ryan Leonard 7.23, Jake Cooper 7.22. So Ryan Leonard was playing pretty decent, and he's the one who gets yanked off for the tactical change to bring Tom Bradshaw on, even though Afoe wasn't having the best of games. Figure that one out. So in terms of that game yesterday, can we point the finger at Garrow out and say the substitutions really didn't work? They really didn't work. As soon as he made every substitution that we made and then they made in response, just made it worse and worse for us in terms of Bournemouth coming forward and just coming at us. So who had the most touches for Millwall? Jake Cooper 68, Hutch 63, George Saville 63, and then it drops off. Danny McNamara 58. Okay. Moving on to offense. So shots and shots on target. So we had 8 shots, I believe I said earlier. So how many of them were actually on target, which could have been possible goals? 3. Burke, Saville, Billy Mitchell. And I believe they were kind of George Saville was one was like powder puff. It was on target, but it was just so easy for the keeper to gather it up, wasn't it? Anyone offside? Again, Benik Afobe 2 times offside. He was having a really poor game, and he probably wouldn't have liked it, but Garrett probably should have took him off for either Bradshaw or Jed Wallace. Yeah, didn't happen, did it? Didn't happen. Let's move on now to defensive. So who had the most tackles for Millwall? Hutchinson with 5, Ryan Leonard with 3. So another thing, Ryan Leonard 74 minutes on the pitch. He had the second most tackles for Millwall Football Club, 3. But he gets taken off. I think it's each thing that we're looking at, it's just adding onto the pile that the substitutions in yesterday's game were mismanaged by Gary Rat there. I've got to say, I mean, I don't want to be a downer on in terms of the overall season. The season was a good season. It worked out quite well in the end. But in terms of that game, I mean, looking through the stats here and the data, it suggests that the substitutions weren't the right substitutions to make at the time. Interceptions, Sean Hutchinson again top 5, again Ryan Leonard 4. I mean, come on, you're taking off your second best defender. Well, he might have been the best at the time, because remember, Sean Hutchinson had an extra 20 minutes that Ryan Leonard didn't have. So Ryan Leonard could probably have been top of the data there, the tackles and the interceptions. when he got yanked off. Like, you're taking off your best defender at the time. Holy moly. Clearances, Jake Cooper 5, George Saville 3, Hutch, Leonard McMahon 2. Who blocked shots? Jake Cooper, John Hutchinson with 4, and then George Saville with 1. So one thing I wanted to see, how many shots did Bournemouth actually have on target? So they had 9 different players having shots. One geezer had 7 shots and they were all off target. Jaden Anthony. If you're the manager, you've got to be telling him, hey, don't fucking shoot because you got banana foot, mate. None of those shots are on target. So they only had 3 shots on target. So that probably explains Biakowski's kind of low score. Conceding 1 goal from 3 shots on target. Yeah, not the best. So let's go back down and look at passing for Millwall. So what did we want to look at? We wanted to look at Mason Bennett because he had 90%. But how many passes was that off of? So it was only 10. So yeah, kind of skewing from the low data set there. But who is impressive? Probably Jay Cooper, 80.9 for 47. Danny McNamara, 80.5 for 41. Yeah, I suppose. Okay. So crosses and who had the most passes? Cooper, Sean Hudson, Danny McNamara. Yeah. Crosses and accurate crosses. So George Saville 5 and 3, Jed Wallace 5 and 0. So again, George Saville taking the corners, decent corner taker. Jed Wallace takes when he comes on, takes over taking the corners. Not very good at all. Maybe George Saville should have carried on taking it. Danny McNamara 4 and 1, Ryan Lander 2 and 1. So another plus mark from Ryan Lander there. Ryan Lander really ending the season on a high after his injury ravaged season. Accurate crosses, yeah, we've done that long ball and accurate long ball. So Bart Biakowski 26 and 12, that's not too bad. It's good for him. It's 50%, roughly. Yeah, he's normally around about 30 to 40, so 50 is actually pretty good for him. Jake Cooper 13 to 9, very good, Jake, very good. Sean Hutchinson 9 and 4, Ryan Leonard 6 and 2, Billy Mitchell 6 and 2, Saville 5 and 3, McNamara 3 and 5 and 3, and Kieftenbeld 3 and 2. Now we're going to have a look before we leave. Did any of the substitutes do better than the players they replaced? Jed Wallace slightly better than Mason Bennett. Not much in it, 0.03, so really not much in it. Kieftenbeld didn't get as high a score as Murray Wallace, and Bradshaw really didn't do anything when he came on, did he? He's had 1 pass. That's all he had he was on the pitch for 20 minutes, and all he got on his name was 1 pass. Oh, he did other stuff as well, tackling and stuff though. So he passed the ball once, and he had 3 touches of the ball. In 20 minutes he was on the pitch. I think that kind of tells you the story of the last 20 minutes of the game. It was basically one-way traffic. Yeah, we were lucky to lose that 1-0, but yeah, I think what can you say? Game management was off the chart. Here's the thing: what is the phrase? Kill your darlings. Kill your darlings. What does that mean? You need to. You can't be scared to be taking players like Benekophobia off if they're not playing well. Like seriously. And here's another thing: if you bring a player on as a substitute and he's not doing very well, have the absolute balls to maybe substitute him as well. Not saying anyone probably should have done that in yesterday's game, but that's kind of big ball move you have to do if you're a manager. That kind of thing. Mourinho did things like that. Mourinho made three substitutions at half time once because he wasn't happy with the way the team were playing. And you got to do, that's what you got to do. You got to tell them, like, no, this is, no. Especially in a game where it's must win. Like, seriously, you're not getting another chance to do this. You can't go into next week and say, oh, well, we drew this game or we narrowly lost it and we'll make it up in the next game. No, this was it. This was it. And you got to be a bit more brave with your and astute with your substitutions and your tactical changes. Taking off Murray Wallace at half time, just and putting them moving back Mara to left back. That was just bizarre. And as you've seen at the time, it didn't really seem that off. But taking off Ryan Leonard when he was basically having one of the best games of the season, probably stats wise. I mean, now here's the thing. Now we know they have access to the stats as they're going on in the game. They can literally, you've seen them. If ever you see a clip of them on the bench, Gary Rat, Adam Barrett, and the other guys, Joe Connell is his name, I think. They're looking at iPad. What are they looking at there? They're looking at the stats in real time. They know what's happening on the pitch. They know how each player is playing, what they're doing. I think it's Pro Zone or some kind of thing. So they know. So you know Benicophobi's output isn't the best this game. Why aren't you taking him off? You take off someone who's actually doing something in Ryan Leonard, just one of the best defenders in that game alongside Hutchinson. And as soon as you take him off, it's one-way traffic for Bournemouth coming straight down our throats. I mean, I'm not saying that we didn't lose that game because of that, but Bournemouth are a pretty good side. We were probably going to lose that game anyway. But just be a bit more mindful of what you're doing and why you're doing it when you're doing it. And you'll start getting better results. You can't have your favourites. If your favourite player isn't playing well, he can still be your favourite player, but he can be sat on the bench beside you, being your favourite player. Because if he's not playing well, there's no room for passengers. Get him off and get someone else on and give them a go. See what they can do. Yeah, and on that note, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.